and welcome to Pulp Mythos. I am Brian, and I'm here with Spencer, and we're going to be talking about Big Sky Season 2, Episode 14. If you've not hit the sub button, please do so. We talk about Big Sky every single week. A lot of other stuff up on the channel. Check that out as well. If you're not watching Snowfall, you should be. It's an amazing show. We talk about that every week as well. Um, all right, let's get into it. Spoilers as usual. So I'm good. I guess I'll start with the what the opening was because it sort of ties into the rest of the episode, and that being another abysmal performance by Travis, aka Stone. It's no secret I'm not a fan of the character at all. My least favorite character of the series, but is playing a pretty big role at this point, and so just appear, he'll be a deal for the rest of the season. But basically, he's got to bury Bob because he murdered him. He shows it to Jenny. I really was confused as to why he did that. Um, but she's a cop. She's like, look, I'll look the other way, but this is a problem, and we know that he did it. He lies to her, says he didn't. But Dono has footage of him committing the murder and is basically holding it over his head. He brings that up to Rin a little bit later, and she basically blows it off. But there is footage of him committing a murder. I'm assuming that's going to play out later at some point, maybe. But just general thoughts on Travis. He had a lot of scenes in this episode. He was sort of all over the place. But did I just miss it? Did they explain why he told Jenny? Like, what was the purpose of
No.
telling her that he was burying Bob? Like, why would he do that? You're trying to keep secrets. You're literally living this sort of triple life. Why the hell would you show her that?
Well, I don't know. To me, the most ridiculous part, other than his haircut, that changed like mid-season, and no one addressed it. I couldn't stop laughing at the fucking his. I don't even know how to describe it. It was like Malcolm in the Middle haircut that he got. His like late 90s, early 2000s.
He does feel like, well, we've talked about that. He feels like a character trapped in the past. Like he was a leftover from, late 90s, early 2000s television.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that he legit is like a character from the early 2000s, but it's like he just still is 100% that character. You look at his hair, the way he emotes, the way it's like that. And we've brought it up before, what is it? Not 90210. Melrose Place. Like he would fit in like on one of those perfectly.
Yes.
And but when he brought the Bob's survival Bob or whatever the fuck they called him, his body to Jenny, like I thought it was going to be him trying to play both sides again. Him like, hey, I'm going to bury it, but you're going to have to pretend that I didn't tell you where it was, and you're going to have to find it. I'm going to, text you, but, it's going to be from this burner phone number, blah, blah, blah. Give me 6 days, and then, expand your search and then stumble upon it. That would have made sense, because then it would have been like, hey, I can't tell you where it is just yet, but I am going to. I need you to find it, but I can't be make it look like I'm the one that helped you find it. That would have been like, okay, I get it. But if he wasn't going to do that, like you said, what's the point of even bringing it up to her if he's not going to tell her? Because now he's already a dickhead, kind of really shitty, poorly written character anyway. And I haven't seen him in a lot of other stuff other than like the OC. So it's not like I have a lot of. He could just be an awful actor. and I hate to shit on him all the time. Not that he's listening to us, but
It might be.
that would be fun. Yeah, great. But I just don't know if there's any way to mitigate how shitty he's doing. Like, what are you going to do? Either recast him next season or just kill him off?
I'd kill him off.
Or
if I was writing this.
Well, so would I. But then what? Just have somebody else? Because to me, and this is what I was going to segue into, and I just remembered, but the on-screen chemistry. You look at Jenny and her lack of chemistry with Cassie. That lack of chemistry extends to Stone Travis character. But when she's with I can never remember the other kind of bumbling, idiot looking character, but he's not. He's actually a decent sheriff, not sheriff, a decent deputy. I don't think that's what they are. It's her partner.
I have no idea what they are. Yeah, what are they? Cops, but are they sheriffs?
I think they're sheriffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But
because Mark is a ranger. No, is he a ranger? What is Mark?
No, not Homeland. Marshall.
Marshall. Yes, he's a marshal.
So, but her partner, what was his name? I can never remember.
I have a different notepad than last week, so I don't have it written down.
Well, her partner, her chemistry with him is great. Her chemistry with the sheriff isn't bad. Everybody's chemistry with Mark is great. So, but you have her talking to Stone, and I don't even want to say it's CW-ish, because even that sometimes gets high school drama better than what they're doing, but that's how it's written and acted to me. It's just not great.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So this is a mystery, and I was curious to your take on this. We've not discussed this. So there's a character named Mason who ODs on the drugs that are coming out from Ren and Jag and them. There's a whole bunch of drama there. Not that important, whatever. But Jenny knows them. Fine, whatever. The question I have is when she confronts Ren later. Ren is legit pissed about the OD. Because she's like, well, our stuff shouldn't. Obviously they don't want people to die from their product. They want them to stay customers. So it almost felt, because she was questioning, well, something's off. Now we learn that this is some wild stuff, but there was a bit of a betrayal from a guy named Vikram, who betrays her father Veer, stole a bunch of their money. There's somewhat of a conflict there. They're still in Canada. He's afraid they're going to send an assassin to kill him. They give us a little bit of that, but not all the details. Do you think they are setting up the potential that the drug overdose is connected to Vikram, that there's some kind of conspiracy around these drugs? Like, that was what I was getting out of it, because I was like, the fact that Ren was like legitimately like puzzled and confused as to why they would have been an OD like this leads me to believe there's a storyline attached to it. And we did establish that there is a rival group that has beef with her family in Canada. So I don't know. That's where I was thinking the story potentially is going. Did you have any thoughts on what all that was about, or where it's potentially going?
So those specific pills, they had like little dots on them. Yeah, and I didn't know if that was a specific brand or if like they were indicating that those were not the ones that came from the specific, I don't want to say department, but their specific,
their supply,
brand,
Jag and Ren's supply, yeah.
But I think that it is, but you can't automatically, have that kind of press and fuck up when they have legitimate, the fucking box trucks full of them. So before they even get to spread their wealth and start spreading their product in this town of 30,000 people, like Jesus, it just doesn't fucking sense for it to Helena to be their hub. Uh, I just don't get it because I'm trying to look at them because I'm decent at geography. It's a huge area, and there's not a lot of big cities in that area. Now I get, you know, trafficking it from, being able to send it to Seattle, spreading it down the West Coast. You got Portland, and then Northern California, you start hitting Sacramento, and you're able to do that. So supply lines, I get it. So I get the start being here and the supply lines being here, but why would you start selling it here? I wouldn't even sell it here because as soon as something like this happens, it fucks you up and you get caught before you ever get to those bigger Western cities. So why would you even fuck up and do that here? And that's like when you bring that up, that
It,
is my question.
well,
It doesn't make
because
sense.
in the real world, obviously, these specific kind of drugs, ODs happen all the time, and in other words, in the real world, a dealer like Rin wouldn't question the fact that somebody may have overindulged or whatever. But this is, big sky logic. So that goes out the window. So the fact that she would question it leads me to believe there's a storyline associated with it. And then remember the guy's Mason's sister was like he didn't do drugs. So they were really emphasizing that he didn't do drugs. So I'm like, well, then it I have no idea what happened, but it leads me to believe that the show is nudging us to say, oh, there was something weird that resulted in his death.
Well, and not only did he just have a simple possession, like he had a bag full of them. So if he was never doing drugs up to this point, why the fuck would he have that amount?
like
And
like did like do you think it's as see this is a dumb thing if it's the way they're doing this, but do you think possibly an enemy, Vilcrum, whoever, killed him, forced him forced him to OD so that he would die, picked a random guy or whatever, so that this would all spiral out of control, like to take out Veer's family. Like it sounds stupid, but I'm like, is that the plot?
well, to me, it would make more sense for it to be Dietrich to take out.
I didn't even think of Dietrich. Yeah,
Well, just to kind of steer it back towards them and to get them in trouble. It would make more sense, but
it's the ghost of T-Lock.
it's the ghost of the ghost of awfully written characters past or some bullshit. Or the one hero that was one of the old characters' dads that never got brought up again, that they were Jesus Christ. The wilderness man secretly turned.
Oh yeah, Van guy.
Yeah.
Forgot about him.
But anyway, so to me, Dietrich would make the most sense because then he would be able to stop the drug trade real quick, get all of them caught, and then be able to, I don't want to say humiliate them, but get them in trouble and get them caught. And now it takes him off the radar again because they know it's not him. Immediately they mention it, they're just like, no, this isn't him. This doesn't make sense. But to me, it would make a ton of sense for him to be the one to have fucked over this drug ring that suddenly shows up in the area when running them get there, and they know it's them, but they're just like, holy shit. But now for them to bring in this amount brings in an awful lot of heat, which doesn't make sense. But Dietrich planting it and doing it in an area that easily findable, that they found, you know, not only found all the drugs, they planted it on somebody who wasn't a known drug addict. But to me, it was the amount. If he would have accidentally OD'd, and his dad clearly has issues, and then they mention that they know that he had an issue with it in the past, not drugs, but alcoholism, I'm assuming, because that was a reference that Mark and what's the lady with the glasses?
I don't know.
Denise.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but she mentioned that she knew Mason's dad.
Her name should be 4 lines. She gets 4 lines an episode.
Yeah. Anybody can deliver them, and the worst part is that she's got better chemistry and she's a better actress than Stone is.
She is actually.
It's 3 lines and she's better than he is, but anyway.
We'll go into the office. So Mark, I guess he's not busy being a marshal, so he's just like, "Hey, I'll work here." And they're like, "Yeah, cool." Cassie's, off, taking time off, and so he's in the office, he's doing stuff. It's all fine, it's all fun scenes. Like you said, I enjoy Mark when he's on screen and doing his thing. But then they decide, which really caught me off guard, because I still am not sure if the show's going to get picked up for a 3rd season. But we're winding down. There should only be a few more episodes until this season's over. But Jerry is back. We have a scene with her father. And clearly, a little time's passed. Her mother died. A nice little scene where they have all the plants. Matter of fact, they have the whole back and forth about, he can come visit her and everything. And I was thinking, well, he should just bring him to Big Sky. He's a cool actor. He does a lot of cool stuff. So I was like, bring him in. Why not? But anyways, then it leads to her coming. She talks to Mark. Mark's like, yeah, what's up? Me and Cassie sort of got a little thing that started. She's like, okay, well, where does that leave us? And then it just sort of, there is no answer. So I don't know if Cassie's coming back for the rest of the season. We know that the actress was, having a child during this production. So I don't know how many episodes she was written out for. Not sure what the plan is for Mark and Jerry. I didn't know Jerry was coming back this season. I don't know. So as far as the Jerry Mark storyline, and even I guess a little bit of Cassie, where do you think it's going? And do they have enough time to do anything with it?
I don't want to say gripe, because I had zero issue with it. I was happy. Jerry, when she came back and started as soon as they brought her back, I was super confused. And because it seems like she's been gone for what, like 11 episodes out
It feels that way, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. But she's been gone, for a while.
For a long time. So for her to come back and to kind of just insert herself back into the storyline, I was afraid that it was going to feel forced, and it didn't. And that's what made me happy that they were able to do that and kind of just reinsert her character into the office and into the, the I was trying to think of a cooler word, but they just kind of immediately got her feet wet and she was already back in. And it's almost like she took Cassie's part. Now, here's my thing. If the on screen chemistry with Mark and everyone, because every scene he is in with every other character, because I don't like Cassie with Jenny, but I love Cassie with Mark. Every scene that Cassie's in with Mark, I actually enjoy. The chemistry that they have is great, but to me that goes back to the chemistry that Mark has with literally everyone. That is a testament to, I don't know if it's the actor, how they wrote his character, or how he's able to kind of pull everything back in. But to me, it's scary because now, do they need Cassie?
I, you know,
Doesn't come.
it's
So what?
it's funny you bring that up because Cassie was been sidelined for several episodes, and at first I was very confused, and then somebody, I think the Richard Cheney had put in the comments um, that the actress was was having a child, and so that made complete sense. It's like, okay, she was busy, dealing with that. So, but you make a hell of a point because here we are, 2 episodes in a row where one of which she was barely in it and one she wasn't in it at all. And the story's still trucking along. All the main players are doing their thing. And to be completely honest, I've been saying it for weeks now. I absolutely love Ren and Jag. And the more of them we get, the more happy I've been. So outside of the, shitty Travis. But yeah, it does get to a point where you're like, is this even Cassie's show anymore? I don't know.
And I don't. I don't want to say I don't care, but not only has the transition been seamless, the gripes I had went away. It the poorly written Stone stuff was comical, and then it was almost, I don't want to say made into a pun, but they basically were like, "Hey, we got this video." It so immediately the bad acting, scratching my head, the bad acting that immediately went from, I was afraid that it was going to ruin the entire episode, it went into, I didn't care and forgot about it. And then you moved on to all these other sequences of all these characters that I loved. I actually enjoyed this episode quite a bit, but it makes it to where Jerry's back. Now you have Jerry and Mark. That was great. But there is no there's no need for Cassie, and it was okay.
Yeah, if the show gets picked up for a third season, and Cassie is in fact the star of the show, which she was supposed to be, they really are going to have to revamp her character and her story, and they're going to have to focus on it, and they're going to have to make, you know what I mean? They're going to have to do some work to really make the character, to push the character, because the writers have, like I said, I know she had stuff going on and she couldn't necessarily be there, but I still think they could have written some better stuff for her in the episode she was in. But I don't
I
know.
think it
Because Tanya is kicking ass. She's not. She doesn't get a whole lot of lines, and she's only been in a handful of episodes if you really break it down. But she has become a hell of a character in the show, and the Dono dynamic. I mean, shit, dude. If they just made a Dono and Tanya show, I might watch that as long as Ren's there too.
but even the transition between that, they made a reference, the waitress thing was even comical, to where it it you, you talk about pulp mythos. It's a pulpy show. It's kind of silly. It's not. It's hammy. It goes, from one sequence to the next. But when it goes from being able to poke fun at itself and then be so well acted and so well done 3 seconds later, I enjoyed her. I was worried that I wasn't, but immediately I loved that scene. It
It
was
wasn't
great.
working out. You're right. Tanya was not working initially in the beginning, the first several appearances. And then you're right. It went through that transition where I was like, okay, this is sort of stupid that, okay, she's now working with them. But then once she settled in the Dono sort of dynamic, then it worked. It's been working. And so now it's like they figured it out. Um, and the show has done that with some Mark. Remember, I used to hate Mark. When he first debuted, his first handful of episodes, I did not like him. I thought he was too weird and in dumb ways. And then finally, it's like they figured out how to write him, and he figured out how to play it, and then it just settled. And I was like, okay, I like Mark now. Um, but yeah, Tanya has definitely grown. The only characters that like came out the gates perfect to me, Ren. Ren's been great from the beginning. Veer, I like Veer. I think he's been good. Jag's decent. Um, Ren's my number one though, as far as characters. I'd almost make the show about her. Shit, maybe they will.
I To me, there were so many strong parts in this episode that had uh, to me they needed this so bad, because taking away Wolf and Ronald, I was fucking terrified. I was like, how are they going to be able to carry this on? Immediately, I was so worried because those two characters were the strongest two. Those two were to me, the things that I was going to not watch the show anymore. I was worried that I was going to hate it. And then immediately they switched, and you still have that dynamic it's not silly, but Dono is goofy. He's a weird kind of dude. But when you have his dynamic going with Tanya, it's great. Then you add Ren, it's great. It's all these dynamics that I was so worried that were going to be missed when Ronald and Wolf left. It was picked right back up with these not new characters, but underutilized characters were immediately picked up and kind of filled in that void that I was afraid was going to be left when the other two left. And it was great. And now I don't want to say okay with them not being there, but they did a good job filling that spot. And I was terrified that they weren't going to be able to do it. And they did it.
The last sort of main thing we got to talk about, because it was a big deal and it should have a huge impact on next episode. And that being Jenny's dumbass mistake at the end. She's on she's on the compound. She suspects she knows where the drugs are being made. She's correct. She goes into the lab. You see all the stuff there. There's not a single person around, no guards, no nothing, which is stupid. But okay, fine. But little does she know there in fact is somebody hiding, I guess sitting in a chair in the back. I don't know. But Jinder Mahal's chilling. Big dude comes out, knocks her down, and she's stuck. Uh, as a cop, she was completely doing something illegal, not allowed to do what she was doing. Obviously, she's caught by bad people. I don't know what they're going to do. Like that's one of those almost. We'll see how it plays out in the next episode. But it almost felt like writing yourself in a corner because I'm like, I don't see what would make sense to let her go. But I don't know. We'll find out. But any thoughts on it?
I do. The dogs immediately started barking, and I was like, "Shit!" Awesome. Okay. I was like, "Oh no!" I said, "All right, there we go." All right, but Jenny, she's. I was pissed when you. She looked over, saw the truck, and was like, "Oh, is it over here?" She literally didn't even drive. She got in the car, put it in like gear, drove like 3 inches, turned it right back off, put it in park, and hopped out and was trying to do this covert little dance where she got over there. So I was like, okay, this is bullshit. I was really the transition from scene to scene, it pissed me off. Like I was already angry, and then immediately her coming around the corner, I was like, well, this is going to be bad. It's poorly written. She's going to stumble across it. And I said, she has zero backup. She didn't tell anybody she was going. She didn't tell Stone Travis that she was going to be investigating. So now she's going to be left high and dry. Mark's not going to be able to know where she is. There's no one that's going to be able to come to her rescue. I was like, this is dumb. She's going to get caught. So why is she doing this? And then all of a sudden, I don't remember. You said Jinder Mahal, and now that's all I can think of. But now he catches her, and immediately I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so her being caught, the end of last season when she got caught up with the, I don't know, meth body dumping weird circus storyline that went completely nowhere at the end of last season, she got caught. But now her getting caught is a huge deal. And leaving it on that cliffhanger like that was not only great, how is it going to evolve into who's coming to her rescue? How are they going to, I don't want to say solve this mystery, Scooby-Doo, but I am curious now as to what's next.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't checked, but there should be only a couple episodes left, maybe one, maybe two. I don't know. But the season is winding down. But yeah, we'll cover it at least this season. We'll see how it ends. See if there is a season 3, and whether or not we'll do that. But yeah, that's about it. Guess we'll wrap this up. And as I said at the front, Snowfall. If you're not watching Snowfall, you should be. An amazing show. We talk about it every week. We have Barry coming up. The trailer just dropped last night. Very excited about Barry. Was it Flight Attendant coming up? Not Tokyo Vice, maybe not. I do not like the release schedule at all, so we'll talk about it. Maybe I don't know, but possibly we might cover that one. But all right, appreciate everyone listening.